Hey, everybody, it's me, Irina Kutsenko, and Stars About Stars, the first astrology-based matchmaking podcast for love and career seekers. And today we have a very special guest. That's a beautiful lady inside and outside, who is a master of mindset and a specialist in time management. And to say that, it's nothing to say about her, but let's talk and find out more and more. KARRIE KLIMAS. Hi, KARRIE.
Hi, Irina. Nice to meet you. Right to be here, actually, I should say, as well. Nice to be here.
I'm so happy finally to have you here in studio.
Absolutely. It's great to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, KARRIE, last time when we had this conversation and I called you, and of course you were busy as always, and I asked, what actually you're doing? Just tell me in general, because I'm so impressed with so many things I've seen in the internet about you. And you tell me, I'm mastering myself. Could you tell me, what is that to master your mind?
Well, I should say we're like a piece of real estate or a car. But if I don't take care of myself and make time for me, how am I going to take care of the things around me as well? So making myself, my number one priority.
And how does this process start at all?
Well, the willingness to say yes.
Say yes to yourself.
Yes. Yes to my higher self, without a coach that I met 10 years ago. But if I didn't say yes to her and this vision that she had to support me in creating something better, I would not be here either.
What is your recommendation for those people who don't know how to say yes? And actually they know how to say yes to the other people, but they don't know how to say no to them. And they don't know definitely how to say yes to themselves.
Yes. Well, I will say it's a lack of value. And so in a sense, I have to value myself more. Instead of buying a phone for $1,000, maybe a coaching program is less or even more, but valuing ourselves and treating ourselves like a phone or an app and upgrading. Because if I don't take that time to invest in me, but if I don't, how am I expecting somebody else to take time to invest in them if I don't even do it for myself?
Tell me, please, your opinion as a specialist. Let's say when you have family and you have so many responsibilities about the house, or your friend is calling you and asking for a favor, and you think, okay, I will run to the hospital, I will help out my friend to bring his dog to the hospital, I will take care of my kids, but I will forget about my hobby that is my passion. So how to, behave in that type of situation?
Well, first the person has to acknowledge and know that is, I guess, sick and tired of being sick and tired of the things that are happening. But in a sense, when sometimes we want something, the universe will also probably bring us somebody in our lives to help us get that. So if we don't take it, then I guess the situation keeps happening.
Do you believe in some kind of karma that universe is giving you few opportunities more and more after it's just tired to say, okay?
Well, yes, I will say that even when I, hired a coach 10 years ago from the networking, there were different coaches in the same company that I'm part of, and she was. But at one time, I just kind of pushed it away, and the universe kept putting it in front of me, and finally, committed. Yeah. In a sense, if I see people over and over again, in a sense, it's a sign. I'm like, well, if I'm still showing up, there's a reason.
KARRIE, as I know, you're from South Florida, correct? So you did a huge change in women's society here, and we're definitely going to talk about that. But you're well traveled and you know different zones and states of United States. So how is coaching is different here and somewhere else, or maybe outside the country, or it's the same? The base is always the same.
Well, I wouldn't say coaching is just a terminology or a trainer. I mean, if we think of sports, there's a coach. So in a sense, anybody who had a coach, they can also appreciate and probably acknowledge that part, because again, having somebody else who's mastered a skill to help guide us, whether you go to the gym and you hire a trainer to help you move forward faster with your workout or your progress of losing weight or gaining weight. So, always having somebody else who has our back is important.
People who are going to therapy for years after some of them decided that they want to get their higher education in psychology, for example. With coaching happens some kind of the same thing. Tell me, please, where is this level or click when you understand, okay, now I'm ready to give this knowledge to the people. Now I'm done with myself.
In my perspective, what I knew, I guess I'm also one of many people. I hear a lot of people say they also want to help other people, but I knew I always wanted to support, not just help. But at the end of the day, not knowing exactly how that was going to work. And so my coach told me, 10 years ago, she says, what if I could teach you an exercise to quiet your mind and focus your time and attention on creating a business that aligned with my skills and abilities? And I'm like, really? That's possible? So what people would always tell me over the years, I was always good at networking, following up, and asking questions. And I thought that was normal and playing pretty stupid about it until now I'm actually creating a business on that.
Tell me, please, what is you told me about quiet your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So do you believe in meditation, in manifestation, and like balance, that you have to be peaceful and you have to make a move?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But most people don't know how to slow down. They're so busy in the rat race trying to keep moving forward, and don't always take time for themselves, or even time to acknowledge themselves and where they're at, to assess themselves and how things could be better.
How to work out your intuition to understand what is really yours or not when you're full of opportunities, like in the United States, and everybody is knocking your door and say, this is million marketing companies and so on. How to go with your gut and to feel what is yours?
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, we can listen to our head or we can listen to our heart or intuition. Yep. I guess they have to say, I trust myself, it's right for me. And repeat myself over and over again. I trust myself. Be it out at nature and literally get together with yourself and spend more time and seeing what that, what that intuition says to you.
And here we come back to relationships, because from with some business owners who offering you some services or products, you're doing good. With the others, you just can't handle them, and that's not yours, and it's probably some kind of karma to work out and move forward. Okay, so you said that your passion is connecting people for win-win partnerships, correct? What is your recommendation for those who have no passion in life?
Well, first, if they have no passion,
they're just, I don't know, maybe they're lazy, they have no interest. There are people, for example, who have money and they think that's enough.
Sure. And they're welcome to have that perspective. There could be $1 million on the table. Whoever wants it will do something about it. I'll say, to my clients or people I meet, and, how long does it take to build a habit? Hey, anybody can say a number. But at the end of the day, it takes my will, my persistence, and my determination to want something. But if I don't willing to say that to myself, I'm willing to do this and I'm willing to do what it takes, if I don't have that self-talk to myself, how is it going to happen?
Do you believe in this 21-day practicing something?
Who knows? I mean, there's an article
to build up a, habit. I don't know, to eat in a different way or something like that.
Well, it all depends. I'm going to say on the individual, the habit. Again, everybody works just like working out. I mean, how consistent people go to the gym, 30 minutes. I mean, what's their goal? If we don't know what the goal is, the end result. I mean, it could take 21 days. It could take, an article I read said 200. But again, in the article, it says one must be willing. If I'm not willing to do anything, how am I going to, I don't take my will to do it. If I'm not willing and using my will, how's it going to happen? And if I don't have a plan or steps or guidance to show me how to do that, or persistence.
Do you believe that successful people have the same habits or set of habits?
Well, I would say they probably have successful habits that are working in their favor. Could there always be new ones and better ones? Absolutely.
No, they write it down right now. Wake up at 5 o'clock, pray, meditate, listen to the birds, go to the park, and all these successful people who have billions, they are doing the same stuff at the same time. Do you believe in that?
Well, I believe everybody has some sense of structure. Yep. I mean, if they're willing to determine, some people get up at 5 or 6. I mean, I might get up at 5 or 6, but I do meditation practice and, lay back down and gives myself some silence and relax and get back up and feel what feels right for me to get up and get ready, because I know the rest of my day and start making it happen.
So you're talking about more intuitive way to live your life. For somebody, it's good to wake up at 3 o'clock daytime in the afternoon, and after to hang out until 3 o'clock, and maybe great ideas come in the night. For the other person, could be absolutely different. So I explain you why, because I attended so many seminars. I went through whole stuff, starting from spiritual ayahuasca, that is very tough experiment like that, to peaceful yoga with non-talking, laying down in shavasana, and doing that stuff, up to Tony Robbins, when you have jump until the late in the night, until 3 o'clock in the morning. And they give you some recommendations. Somebody is telling, listen to your heart, I don't know, go with your gut, go with the flow. So million thirds, Tony Robbins, they are talking about special habits, set up your goals. So that's my question is based on, there are people who are using mind too much nowadays. That's why I ask you, because maybe everybody should be very different and unique.
Well, we all are unique, but not knowing how to bring that out from ourselves. I believe everybody's got potential in all different areas. I mean, like I said, I didn't know my skills were networking and asking questions and following up. I didn't know that was normal. I mean, how does that, just because somebody else telling me, but I'm thinking, doesn't everybody have this? So again, I'm going to say it. We assume this is normal for everybody. So how do I actually treat it into something that's going to, a habit or a passion that people like making jewelry or they like doing yoga? I mean, who you don't fall in love with something and then, I turned it into a business. Oh, who would have thought?
What is your background? Tell me, please. Share more about yourself.
Sure. I mean, well, other native Floridian. I say I've been within the corporate world for about 18 years. Been in my own for 13. And the corporate world, I appreciate my parents for being well organized. My dad asked a lot of questions, and and they're well put together and take care of the house. So I appreciate and respect that, and that's where my skills come from. But I was in corporate executive assistant for many people. So again, taking care of people and the organization, the department, documents, things like that. And then been on my own for 13 years and started networking and meeting people and sitting down for coffee. And this is, went from creating my first business called Gift Problem Solver, selling candles, and then, then sold purses and that. And along the way, met a coach and then, trained in a communication skills workshop called Great People Skills for 5 years, called that workshop. It was about once a month, about anywhere from 10 to 60 people with other partners, and been a life mastery coach. And then this business got created exactly just about a year and a half ago. Now finally putting my skills and talents into what naturally is natural for me.
So I know that in Great Skills, People Skills, you have a partner, correct?
I had a partner.
You had a partner.
Right.
Now you're just by your own.
Yes, me, myself, and I have created this business a year and a half ago.
So that's another question. Do you prefer to be individual, or you still feel that partnership is for you, maybe possible in future, like potential?
Well, anything is possible. I'm certainly open to the idea, but being a year and a half in business, I guess in a sense, I'm still managing and mastering what I'm offering. So, but again, I created everything myself. So again, if they're going to do something, it's going to be the way they want to. But who knows? I mean, anything is possible to create and be open to all possibilities.
When you see a person, there are any special techniques when you can determine this person is for entrepreneurship, doing job by himself, or he needs a partner and somebody to rely on and share responsibilities?
Well, I have a client who wants a business partner, but in a sense, he's like, I need a business plan. So I said, well, he realizes get his business plan together because it's his business. I said, at the end of the day, if you want a partner, you got to be clear on your vision and your purpose, and whoever your partner is, personally or professionally, making sure that they're also aligned with your vision.
So you do believe, considering your background, that every person has a special skill.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, please, how to determine your gift.
Well, I'll say when I remember driving to a conference years ago with this woman friend, and this is, I'm going to say 2014, and I asked her, I said, what do you see me good at? Because I was like, because I was selling candles, I tried different businesses. So I was always open to trying new things, wondering what my passion, my purpose was. And, I'm grateful for those skills because I still learned something. And she says, Carrie, I always see you're good at networking. And I said, well, I don't understand what that means. So with that, but again, I'll say, ask people around you. I was also told by another coach, asking people around you what they see in you to help guide you to what your skills are. Because often we can't see it within ourselves, but other people can see it.
So you already mentioned 2 techniques. You not ask your parents, but you inherited some qualities. So I understood that they could be very helpful in your profession. And you ask your friends who know you so good, what is your side of power? Mm-hmm. There are any other special tricks that could be helpful for those people who are listening for us right now, and they, for example, they have their profession, they're making money, they're going to job, they have their salaries, but they don't have this passion, this wake-up call every morning that I'm dying to go to my job, to make it happen again and again.
Well, I'd say find somebody like and trust, and you feel they won't give you judgment, and you feel that they would guide you in the sense of giving you ideas of what to do. I'll say many people tell us what to do, but they don't actually show us how to do it. Oh, you should do this and you should do that. But if I've never done it before, how am I expecting to know how to do that? Yeah. Like we tell people things, but we don't even know how to even do it.
So though who are, looking for a special profession, mission in life, and special calling, please write down things that you really love to do. Make sure that it's something that you would love to do without any money and in any limits, as I understood, yes. And maybe ask your friends what is your powerful side and your beautiful traits that could be helpful in that type of profession. It's very interesting because we are doing a little bit similar stuff from very other point of view, because my background, it was astropsychology. That was I was graduated for. And it's interesting that we have some similar techniques working with people. Probably we're entering the same, like spot from different doors. And you know that my show is related to stars. And I've asked, what is your zodiac sign? If we can, if you give me permission to ask you.
Absolutely.
So what's your zodiac?
I'll be a Taurus. We're in Taurus right now.
Oh my God. So your birthday is
Coming up.
coming
week.
up.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. Happy birthday. That's a
Thank
birthday girl. I have some of my friend who is 5th of May that is still Taurus. And it's interesting because it's moon eclipse. So now it's corridor of eclipses and so many emotional things are happening in the sky and on the earth as well in everyday life. So to be Taurus, it's to be actually, very good in careers, in money making. And could it give me, as a Taurus and as a professional person, advice? Let's say you understood what is your gift. You're a coach, you're a jeweler, you're an artist. How you come from making your gift to convert it into money making profession?
Well, first understanding my value. I mean, if I'm not knowing what my value is, even since I've been in business now for a year and a half, and I had to start off in October when I first started a certain price for my value. And, 6 months later I increased it. And just of May 1st, I increased it again. So giving myself a raise.
Okay. So who are your clients? They always stay with you, correct? They're very faithful. They believe in themselves, first of all.
I'll be the goal. Yes.
Absolutely. And they trust you and they want to go all in with you. And for example, what are doing that people who are shy? They don't know really even how to ask. Let's say I'm your friend. I say, KARRIE, listen, I need your advice. I have nobody to ask for about that. How I did it, I just arrived. I'm Ukrainian. I don't know what should be my price. I know what was my price in France. I know what was my price in Ukraine, but Ukrainian hryvnia is not relevant to American dollar. I don't know how to convert it. How people can determine their value?
Well, I said at the end of the day, you have to find somebody who's going to willing to listen to you and guide you to be able to talk out with you what you feel your value is. I don't think we all know it. I'll say most of us are thinking ourselves lower than, we're our worst enemy, not owning it. And I'll say even as women, giving ourselves too much of myself included, giving too much of myself to somebody because I'm not knowing my value and knowing when to cut that off. And to say, okay, I'm willing to give this much, but after this, then I need to be charging for it.
Absolutely. So it's a lot of things are psychologically dependent on self-esteem as well.
Yeah, well, self-esteem, self-confidence, but having other people around us, I also feel that, myself included, that I feel many people are in their own world doing their own thing the best they can, but until I want something better, I need to be willing to step out of the bubble to go find other people who have mastered things that I haven't mastered. So follow the people who've mastered other careers and follow them. That's why we can hire people at a gym because you want to hire a trainer that could help us move forward in a plan. So at the end of the day, I think we all need each other. We all have skills and experts. I'm certainly not a repair guy. I do have a friend who's not a repair guy. I wouldn't do that myself. He's the expert.
Absolutely. KARRIE, on your website, that is absolutely beautiful and very convenient to use. I should give you that compliment, because I've been struggling with building up website for a long time. So I know how it's tough. One time you make it, after it works for you. So you are offering this 30 minutes call. And you give some kind of promise there. Mm-hmm. Tell me, what is your main message and how do you feel you can fix the problem of the person? Or it's like first call, what is that? What are you doing for that 30 minutes with the person who is calling you?
Well, first and find out a lot of asking questions.
Yep.
I want to know who they are, what they're looking for, what they're currently struggling in, or any challenges, what would they like to have more of? And again, I'll say time is money, and often people, are wasting it, whether it's on activities or in people in our lives that we're not, spending the core quality time with people we work with or love or, around us. So I just want to find out what they want and where they like to go and seeing what they're willing to do in order to make that happen. And how can I be, supported for them and, creating a plan with them and support them in their getting clarity and sense of direction. And that's my guarantee that they'll walk away with that. They've got a just like going on vacation. Like I don't want it more than me.
I would appreciate if you now could share exactly what is the name of the website for those who are interested to go and look through. And tell me, please, this first call, is it for free?
Yes, it says on my website, different places, it's a 30-minute complimentary discovery call.
Okay, beautiful. So what is your website again, please?
Absolutely. It's called Great Partnership Solutions. So I'll say that we're working together to be great partnerships, focusing our time on a solution.
Thank you so much. So you were past president of Women Referring West Boca. Is it correct? Did I pronounce it correctly?
Correct.
For 2 years, as I know. Great. Tell me, please, who are your clients? They are only women or not at all?
Oh, well, at the end of the day, we all have 24 hours at the end of the day. So again, if everybody's got 24 hours, often I'll say a lot of people, what I notice is spend a lot of time catching the fish, and the fish would be clients, but they don't treat themselves as an ideal client. And so, or they'll try catching clients, but they forget themselves or loved ones and families, and wishing they could be spending probably more time before the good Lord takes them to the earth, and they wish they could be making these relationships better, not only with themselves, but with other people, and doing the things they say they want to be enjoying.
So you're working with women and men, but probably you met so many women who are willing to do empowerment and to build up that great society when women can help other women to grow after traumas, after pain, after divorces, or even those women who are very happy nowadays, but they still want to be, not maybe independent, but they want to feel confident about their future, maybe how to help their kids and so on. Tell me, please, psychological needs or requests nowadays in this modern society of men and women, they're very far away, or actually people asking for the same stuff, but from different points of view.
What's the question though? I'm sorry.
I mean, like men and women, they are asking for the same type of stuff while coaching. Because, women have their fears that men can leave them, they can stay with kids, so I would better work just in case I have to protect myself and my kids. Men are working because they think, if I don't make so much money, I'm not going to be enough, she's going to go for another man. So we all have fears.
Correct.
I just gave 2 very basic examples, we are all full of fears. Tell me, please, by the end of the story, you're working with women and with men. They are asking for the same type of goals in their main request while coaching, or they are asking for different stuff and their goals are absolutely different in coaching?
Well, everybody has their own goals, but in a sense, we start off with their professional, whatever the activities and ideas that they want in their professional life. And then I look at their, their finances, their income, their networking, their follow-up, and anything in business that they want to create, working on, have a brilliant idea, not knowing what to do. We put it out on paper, and then I ask about their personal life, from their car, their home, their automobile, their family, their friends, the activities they do, their intimate relationship, doctor appointments, dentist, all these little things, their will, life insurance, maybe a burial, all these things that maybe we're not thinking about and putting our attention on time into it, but to help them get these ideas and, manage their time more effectively and see there's some important things that are important to them.
So, do you want to tell me that when somebody decided to work with you, you're creating some kind of psychological portrait to understand all worries of the person, and financial and administrative and everyday stuff, no matter what, it's problem with mom, inheritance, kids, relationships, to understand this person better. And after you take numbers, reality, let's say, what is your salary? What are your needs for kids, for yourself, for your car, and so on, and you put it together?
Well, my goal is to finance. It's like looking at, I use an analogy like server at a restaurant. If I don't know what you're looking for, how can I help you get that? So I just ask questions and write it down, and I'm like, okay, well, they're writing it down. Well, everything is about, again, I have a paper, a guide in order for us to go through each one and saying, how soon, what do you want this? How soon do you want it? Write a date down, write a month down. If they want to work out, how many times, like 3 days a week, great, write that down. 30 minutes? Yeah, write that down.
The other thing, when you have too much knowledge and information, you're not overloaded. You think that everyday coaching stuff is okay, is acceptable if you need to go and make it very fast?
Do I think so, coaching?
Yes, I mean, like if person is, let's say, I come to you and say, I just arrived from Ukraine. I want to become, I don't know, number one author in the United States in 3 months. Can we work on that every day? You think that everyday coaching is okay, or it's going to be too much and I'm going to be overloaded with knowledge and practicing?
Well, I don't meet with people every day. I treat them like a professional adult. So I trust them to trust themselves. I recommend us getting back together within a month, after our first session together and go over. My goal is like I'm a cheerleader. I'm like a tutor for a student. I'm your adult tutor. Let's look at I'm here to acknowledge you, motivate you, no matter how many small steps you've taken, and I'll take time to review, reflect, and revise. So again, it doesn't have anything to do with me. It's just me being a soundboard present, giving them my full attention, caring about them, what feels right for them. I help trust them to trust themselves, what feels right and where they like to focus their time. And, it is a new habit, new ways of doing things. So again, consistency is key and being committed to their goals. And that's going to take time. It doesn't happen overnight, but that's why, staying committed to themselves is also in their investment, because at the end of the day, I'm sure like a client of mine said, I need my clients to meet me once a month. I said, well, we haven't even met once a month. He goes, oh. I said, well, do you want to be the first person to do that so you can act as if what you want other people to do? Oh, okay.
Everybody's so unique. And have you ever tried yourself as a teacher?
Well, I'm not a teacher per se, but I would consider myself a teacher. I am teaching, I do host, have one-on-ones, but I also host a networking skills workshop, a networking practice workshop, and a goal setting. So I am teaching, training, giving value for people to write things down. I don't want to give information. They think we're overloaded with information. I'd rather have them something tangible that they can walk away with, that it was from their own mind that they wanted.
On one of my seminars, I admitted that astrology was a great science that was in universities, actually, from 14th to 16th century. It was part of education, higher education for students in Greece. And after they took it out because they didn't see use of that, they decided that it come across with spiritual knowledge and so on. And I always say that it's so beautiful to understand yourself and do that self-discovery, because you can see powerful side of yourself. What is your gift? What is your skill? Your main talent? Tell me, please, what's your third? Let's say somebody tomorrow will invite you to the university and say, Carrie, we decided to make this special, line for our new students. Nobody teach us life in the university, in the school. Nobody tell us, listen, after university, your parents will say bye-bye to you and you go and you have to work, and nobody explain us how to manage your time, how to rule your emotions, how to behave yourself in relationships, how to build up those relationships with people who don't have to love us like parents, and so on and so on. What do you think that type of, direction, like self-coaching, self-knowledge, would be very great and acceptable in the universities nowadays before this great journey like life?
Well, hopefully the schools will eventually want something like that. I mean, I'm always open to ideas, but I'm also making sure it's going to be well worth my time and my investment to obviously the ideal crowd, because my, people I like to work with are willing and ambitious and driven, like myself, and just knowing there's just some blind spots that I'm not aware of seeing, but without knowing the blind spots, but being open to see things I didn't see before, and, not defending it, but willingness to, acknowledge and go, oh, I didn't see that, and then forgive myself and forgive others for they not know what they do. I had to start with me.
If you were standing right now as that teacher in the university before the crowd of people who never ever tried to work one day and they are just starting the journey that is life, what would be your advice?
To somebody who's never started working before?
Yes, and they don't know what to do tomorrow after they finish their main school. What would be your main guidance, advice?
Well, I'd say go out in nature, do something you love for a little while, just enjoy yourself, and take pen and paper, and take time to walk away saying, okay, when I take this little journey out in nature, and my goal is to actually write down some of my passions and ideas, and what my future may be a hold of that. But again, taking time for ourselves is very important, and taking time to reflect, and then being able to come back and having some ideas. And I'll say lack of action steps where most people fail, but again, hopefully they trust them, get some kind of action steps. If not, then they ask a few people, because what they just wrote down, I'm sure, is very important. I'm sure they might feel inspired to share with others, and other people can also be of value to help them, give them resources and ideas on how to put that in action. Of course, the person has to be willing to know that too and want that.
Carrie, I have some clients, it's absolutely valuable advice, but for example, they build up their life on the base of their main interest. They dedicated life to build up great empire, for example, in some foods production or something else. And after they were desperate, they were lost because something happened, inflation, war, it could be anything, in this society nowadays all over the planet, what's happening. What is your advice for those who lost it that was based on their main skill and inspiration, and they in the depression and they don't really know how to get out of there, and how after this I could find another interest in life, to rededicate myself to it?
Well, as long as they're willing and ready, again, myself included. I mean, we can put ourselves in a rabbit hole for who knows how long and what that takes. We could also have people around us to support us, or we might be around the wrong people and don't know how to support us. So again, it's also, as they say, the 5 people we surround ourselves with is the ones that where we're at in life, and we need to be the one to escape that. Again, the individual person, just like an alcoholic, if I've been drinking or smoking or whatever, and I'm not willing to admit that I have a problem, how is anybody going to help me with a solution? A lot of times it does take a lot of love and guidance from a higher authority or figure therapist or somebody to come in and help the family, help the individual who is, because us as a family, sometimes we don't see these things, and not having all the strength together and having, again, an outside expert to come in, because again, in a day, we're all loving a human being and loving them enough, tough love, still finding somebody else that can help us, bring them back, but they also have to be willing.
Yeah, your main advice, don't stay alone, go to the crowd of people, network, and just see what's going to happen, what's going to be the sign of the universe, what it's offering you.
I'll say yes. I mean, there's either a negative or a positive attitude. So at the end of the day, whether you're complaining, you're wasting time, or are you focusing more on find things that inspire you and excite you? So get yourself into a motivational way of, listen to good music you love. I have songs I love. It's, I'm free to do what I want whenever I want. So, find things that inspire you, get someplace and just turn the music on, and, what feels good for you, and, what might be an action step to take forward from that.
Thank you so much. And I know that you work with Leukemia Society. Tell me, please, more, if possible, about that experience, and why did you choose to go for that direction and to be helpful there?
Which, I'm sorry?
It was Leukemia Lymphoma Society. Is it correct?
Well, if you're finding that on LinkedIn, it's kind of old.
Yes.
I'm not familiar with that anymore.
I mean, you never help for any kinds of health issues? You never work with any kind of society that is reconnected? Honestly, that's what information I digged about you in the internet. That's what they write it down, that you help for some society about health issues for leukemia and lymphoma.
Well, I remember doing a walk for, maybe for that back 10 years ago, and being a person, I guess, of trying to raise funds for, for the Lymphoma Society. But that was probably like 10 years ago. But, I'm open to helping people with their health and wellness. I mean, I make my health and wellness a priority and taking care of myself. I was actually looking today to get a treadmill because I have a stationary bike in the house and it doesn't excite me anymore, but I like walking. But if I go outside, I'm sweating. I'm like, what if I had a treadmill in the house and probably could just get on it, walk it, and, run it? I'm like, you know what? That'd probably be a better idea. So why not? I'm in the process of selling the treadmill. I'm sorry, the process of selling the bike because it doesn't excite me anymore. So I'm going to use that money and put it toward a treadmill, used treadmill, buy it from somebody else. But I felt, you know what, that's probably a better resource to keep my body moving, and it's something I enjoy.
Good. My question is based as well and related to charity. I explain you why. Because energy is all about it. So money have energy, knowledge has energy. When you have enough, they say you have to share. Church tell you that you have to give away 10th part. Law of attraction, money tells you, or all these financial tricks, they say that you have to give away 10th part. What is your attitude when you have a lot of knowledge or a lot of money? How much should you share with the other people?
Well, money is one thing based on the individual. I mean, I volunteer at KAPOW, which is a school system. I volunteer and help out 2 classes and kids. I also volunteer for SCORE. And so I give my time in webinars, a complimentary webinar 4 times a year, one on goal setting and one on virtual networking. So I'm always willing to give my time back to, where I feel could be a value for others that could benefit when it comes to, because SCORE is a free resource for individuals who are entrepreneurs or new for entrepreneurship and getting guidance or mentorship or webinars that they could be part of.
There are any upcoming seminars where people can listen to you and attend those events?
Yes, I do have at the end of every last Tuesday of the month, I do a complimentary webinar. It's on my website, Great Partnership Solutions. One webinar is on virtual networking. I think this month is on time, mindset, and management. It's all very interactive, so I don't talk at people like they do at the SCORE, but it's more interactive to get people's feedback. So when I read a slide, I have audience participation. But time management, virtual networking, and regular networking, I do rotate that usually last Tuesday of the month from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Thank you. I know that you're working with companies as well, and tell us more about this big gift problem solver.
Oh, well, that was my old business, my first business that I used to sell candles and purses and jewelry. So when I got let go from the corporate world on December 7th of 2009, I went to a networking event on December 31st, 3 weeks later, here in Boca. Met a guy named Norman, and Norman said I couldn't just sell candles. And I said, why not? And he said, well,
why candles? Why not? You gave me the answer, but why candles?
Well, there's a direct sales company called Party Light, and they've been around 50 years. And at that time, I was selling candles, home-based business for 5 years. So home decor from a catalog, products, candles, lighting, things like that. But I didn't know, not to take the company being a representative. He says, well, why don't you create a brand? Well, I took the time and had coffee with him, and I listened to him, and I trusted him, and he came back to my house, and my first business gift problem solver was created. And at that point, I realized I'm a GPS, and now I've created my third GPS company. So I'm a human resource, human GPS.
What do you consider to be the biggest gift for a person at all, besides candles?
Well, I'd say the biggest gift is for somebody like myself or anybody taking the time to know your own gifts. If I don't know my gift, how can I present it to the world? If I'm not aware of my gift and knowing how to use it effectively and from my heart, because we'll say that when you naturally live from your heart, money will come. So doesn't that say also that when you don't work a day in your life when you feel like you love what you do?
Absolutely. And let's say I discovered my gift, but I'm so sensitive, I'm so emotional, and it ruins me every day communicating with people or building up my team or listening to critics, for example. How to take power over emotions?
Well, again, you're going to have practice. Practice, practice, practice. I spent thousands of dollars and hours on my human potential for 10 years, so I've been in a safe space to be able to be around other people who are also experiencing things and to be honest with myself so I could, being able to realize those things. But I prefer to be more courageous rather than, keep telling myself I am courageous, I'm powerful, I am deliberate, I am fabulous. So again, that's, usually we mostly have the 60,000 thoughts in our head a day. Usually it's all negative. So my goal is to support people and having a very powerful mindset exercise so they can actually be much more grounded, much more connected, and feel good about themselves and, taking ownership and really feeling good and supporting and practicing that.
What's your advice for those who have fear of rejection?
Well, again, we can either be sucked into the fear or we can have total faith in ourselves. And, I have total faith in myself. So I was willing to let go of the old, like this ball on this table. I'm willing to let it go to be open to receive something better. But if I'm not willing to let go, and fear is just false evidence appearing real. Once a fear is faced, fear is erased.
And what about failure or fear of failure,
Feel a failure? Well, again, everything is just in our mind, what we heard and say, what's our own lack of our own self-confidence and our own, belief in ourselves. So until Henry Ford said you can or you can't, you're right. So I prefer to spend my quality time focusing on the can. I am I'm capable, I'm willing, and, repeat it over and over and over again. And being also in a space to be able to say, well, why would you want to believe that? What's going to be different because of that? What's going to be, and supporting people. Oh, okay, well, as long as you're willing to let go, if you can't, there's a can. Oh, I really didn't see that before. Now, if I put more time on that, my attention on it, then, the universe could turn out to be something different. But again, the individual has to be willing to let go of the old and put practice into focusing on the new and look forward to the journey. Like a lot of people look forward to vacations, but they don't treat themselves every day like they're on one.
Yeah, in Florida, it's a little bit easier about that, Yeah, but it's sometimes people are really scared to take that first move because they think, oh my God, let's say I want to be a famous actress. But from the other side, unconsciously, I have this fear of failure or not to become number one in the Hollywood. So for me, it's better not even to start than to run and arrive second or not to be number one. So people are scared sometimes to
Sure.
be their own shade, and they don't even try it. They don't take those chances. Yeah, and tell me, when I called you, you were busy and you gave me a proper time, and you gave, like that was very professional answer. I can meet you in this and that day. I really love that.
you.
I wish I could do that,
You
being
can. Anything's possible.
I do. I work on myself. My mother, she always told me, you have to this to be so systematic. So, more or less I am right now. But anyway, given your, I don't know, could you share that secret of time management in general? Let's say I'm very talented. I'm super genius. I'm not even lazy, but I don't know how to put it together. I always forget that I fixed interview. I'm not talking about myself right now, but I'm giving you an example, like on Monday, and I don't know how to squeeze it in, and other negotiations, for example. So I don't know how to manage it. What is the main, or at least little secret of time management?
Well, they say time blocking, knowing your priorities and how to, manage, if you want to get 3 or 4 things accomplished and putting a time to it. And also having reward. I'm thinking, think of people who have children, being that we all have been children at one point in our life. So if we all have parents to some degrees. I mean, we all have parents, but again, depending on how they operated and teach us. So all I can say is my experience that if my parents say, hey, you said you want that bicycle. You say you want this, new phone. Well, you got to clean your room every night. You got to put the garbage out, right? Okay, well, repeat what I just said. Okay, great. So if you did that, what would you like to get as reward? Oh, okay. Well, so as soon as you get that done and accomplished, would you like to have the reward? Yes. Okay, great. So how soon are you doing that? Right now. Okay, good. So go ahead. But we forget how to treat ourselves like that and reward ourselves on a daily basis. So being able to stay focused on a priority, and there's 4 qualities that everybody wants, and it's respect, appreciation, acknowledgement, and admire ourselves. But often we don't take the time to acknowledge any small win that we have. We're always on the problem. That was an acknowledgement. But if we could take more time to acknowledge and respect and appreciate ourselves, admire ourselves more, the more we could also do that to somebody else. So to the degree I do that to me, fulfill my cup, and I take the mask, and I respect me, I respect you. I admire me. I admire you. I take the time to acknowledge me and my wins. I take the time to admire yours and your wins. And so then in a sense, it's us taking the time to fulfill our cup, being selfishly willing to, fill our cup so we can be selfless to support others and what they need.
I had a good friend of mine, actually. He was from Holland, but he has some American mentality, partly because he used to live here. So he was mastermind, and he was great, absolutely successful businessman, and he went for a long run here. And after that, he got such a gift as burnout. Probably you have those clients.
Well, I'd say a lot of people work a lot and don't take time for lunch or take a break. At the end of the day, they'll work at 10. They say they want to get up early. They wish they could stop late. But again, a lot of people say they're busy, and just alone in itself, the saying the word busy is already a sign that says you don't have time for yourself. If I say I'm busy being productive, having fun, and doing exactly what I want. And then anyone else, now that my cup is full, I have time for you. Being productive and enjoying life to the fullest. Life is a sport. How well are you playing?
KARRIE, do you think, let's say, if right now we're going to finish podcast, I will take a sheet of paper and I want to write down all my goals for today, for a week, for a month, how you call this, long-term goals, yes, short-term goals, how I build it up on the sheet of paper for our listeners who want really to become mastermind and to, become more powerful in their skills and time management. How do they do that?
Well, so I separate again the personal from the professional, and then write down anything you write down. Make sure you put a time limit, when you want to get it accomplished, where it's a day or a week or a month, either way. But at least then you might, being able to then go back and maybe put it, say somebody wrote all this, like a client of mine the other day, he was writing down things, but then he decided to have May, June, and July. So again, he's looking forward to focusing on May, but he has some things he was writing for in those months as well. So again, planning it out, but keeping track of that and being able to know, just like going to lunch, what time you want to go to lunch, what day you want to get your nails done, when you have to get your hair done. All of it has a time, but being able to put a time to it and getting it accomplished and having a reward to whatever you feel like, take a walk, go to the beach, exercise, whatever feels right, call a friend, grab a coffee, sit down in a movie by yourself. I mean, do it, look at Google fun activities and then take a look at that and see what might be interesting and do something fun. Maybe don't do it, haven't done it in a while, or interested to grab a friend and do it with.
And my final question, I would definitely lose if I wouldn't ask you, do you believe in astrology? I was curious, all our conversation, because you know how to master your time, your head, your emotions, you know how to make it happen, how to help other people. But do you believe in astrology and that every person is, special in some astrological way?
Sure. Well, I'm sure we all have, we're all unique and fascinating in our own special way, but in order to believe that and, what we really are and, taking my astrology sign and believing being a Taurus, they might say Tauruses are stubborn. I'll go, well, yes, in a sense we're stubborn, but I'm stubbornly going to get what I want. I'm stubbornly going to fulfill my needs. I'm going to get what I want. I'm going to be stubborn to say, I know I deserve it. I get that, nothing right or wrong, but not the negative stubborn, but the good stubborn.
There is any sign that you wouldn't like to collaborate with?
No, I'm not. I don't have judgment on any other astrology. I don't, because if I limit that astrology, then I won't be open to all possibilities.
Absolutely. And I love this because you mentioned this being stubborn. My mother, she's Taurus, so you're not scared of critics at all, Yes, that's a very good thing to know yourself. KARRIE, absolutely thank you for all your advices, for all your recommendations. Excuse me that every question would that tell us, because, I really wanted to get this chance to talk to you. And thank you for sharing with us, because it's very important for a person, I think every person, to understand yourself better, to wake up for a reason, and to understand what is your distant goal, what is your dream, what is your calling. Isn't it beautiful to know what you're doing on this planet? And especially when you have somebody in your life who's your friend or soulmate or business partner to share those emotions with.
Absolutely.
So thank you again. Please, if you could share with us again your social media, how we can find you, maybe in Instagram or TikTok or wherever you are.
Yes, well, they can find me at greatpartnerships.com. I do have a YouTube channel at KARRIE KLIMAS GPS. That's KARRIE KLIMAS GPS. And so I've got several short videos on time management, communication, organization, and others, as well as videos on my services and events as well. I'm not on TikTok, but I've got Instagram, or LinkedIn, I would say as well. But, sometimes doing too much overwhelming in social media can be a bit much, but I focus on a couple good ones that I like and stay present there.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, KARRIE. That was really helpful, very practical, very, problem solving. Thank you again. And thank you everybody who was listening or watching us today. To me, Irina Kutsenko, and of course, Stars About Stars, the first astrology-based matchmaking podcast for love and career seekers. And where you can find us, it's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter, always with the same name, at Stars About Stars. And of course, our wonderful official website, www.starsabouttstars.com. With love, Irene.